MystiCast is back. Welcome to the first MystiCast of 2014. I'm your host, Jordan Bitts.
And I'm Nikki Johnson. From 1975 to 1996, an annual jazz festival played a large role of the BSc music department. Notable musicians were brought in to teach and play with BSc students such as Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, and Jackie Byard. In honor of the 75-year celebration, BSc premiered a jazz festival documentary with never-before-seen footage showing off the golden age of the BSc jazz festivals.
In the 70s, one of the big chunks of history of BSc was that there was this 20 years of this amazing jazz concert and performances and educational elements.
My colleague and later on my dean, Dr. Lloyd Anderson, was, I think, the jazz expert in North Dakota. And he thought it was time to introduce jazz, not just to BSc, but to the community. And so he went and got some grants from the BSc Foundation, from in our Visiting Scholars Series, the National Endowment for the Humanities and others, to bring first-class jazz artists into Bismarck.
That came through what was originally a Visiting Scholars Series. And one year, Dr. Lloyd Anderson, who was in charge of it and a big jazz aficionado, invited a guy named Jackie Byard to come. And he came, and then he came every year for many years and brought all of his amazing musician friends, and they had this incredible little slice of diversity and culture and incredible music right here at Bismarck. And so we were approached, the committee and BSc in general, by Bruce Wendt, who's a filmmaker, and he had been involved in this as a student and knew others that were, and he wanted to make a film, and we thought, well, that would be a perfect thing to do during the 75-year event. I know that the footage is really remarkable. There's some really rare footage of, people like Dizzy Gillespie playing and practicing, Jackie Byard, Terry Clark, all these really famous jazz musicians here performing kind of hidden footage that's a real treasure, I guess. And so most of it I've never seen. I know our videographer here has seen some of it, but I'm really excited to see how he puts all that together in the half hour. I think it's going to be pretty remarkable.
Prior to the premiere, BSc faculty and Big Al's band had a mini concert. The bands consisted of people who participated in past jazz festivals over the years.
BSc Tech Theater students, also known as Team Ramrod, have just competed at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival in Lincoln, Nebraska for the Stage Crew Showdown. How did the team fare this year? Here's Eric Mathias and Colton Ulmer with the results.
I am an assistant professor of technical theater at Bismarck State College. What technical theater is it's when you go to a show or a play or a concert or anything like that, there's all sorts of technical elements like lighting and sound and scenery and those sorts of things. And technical theater takes all of those things and uses them to enhance a performance. The competition itself involves a lot of different tasks that are done in the world of technical theater, such as knot tying, rigging, and lifting things up in the air and tying things down is actually a really big part of stagecraft. So those things get tested. How to hang and focus and properly take care of lighting instruments. Theatrical lighting is a lot different than commercial lighting. There's also costume quick changes and prop placements and properly tying off curtains and those sorts of things. Those all different sorts of events that happen in the Stage Crew Showdown. What's special to me about it is that this is Bismarck State College participating against four-year universities and graduate schools, people that have way more time, and here we are right there competing with the best of them. And this is an award that we actually won 2 years ago and almost won her again, but not quite.
I'm a set builder here at BSc. I build the sets that go on for the plays and whatnot. I'm also on Team Ramrod. Well, with our team, we all have different strengths and weaknesses, so doing different things comes into play. Obviously, some people are better at knot tying, and some people are better at quick change, like with little buttons and stuff like that. So working together as a group really helps to know who's good at what, I guess.
Members of Team Ramrod were Cody Sherrado, Alyssa Cahood, Josh Hanneman, Heather Pearson, and Cody Walker.
Wow, way to go, Team Ramrod. Finally, the athletics at BSc is a very active and busy department. The man in charge of it all is Athletic Director Buster Gillis, a longtime successful coach at BSc and an NJCAA basketball coach Hall of Famer. Here's Jared Schumacher with a look into the athletic director's responsibilities.
Buster Gillis has been athletic director at BSC for 13 years, and during that time, Buster has been director of golf, volleyball, softball, baseball, and basketball. To keep up with the wide variety of sports, Buster has to keep goals.
My goal as an athletic director each and every year is to raise more money, and it's for scholarships, and that's the area that we're lacking on is scholarships. It seems like scholarships have gone up at other schools every year, and tuition goes up and scholarships don't go up, so then you're kind of taking a step backwards. So my job is to make sure that our teams can remain competitive. Then it's the coach's job is to go out there and find student athletes that are this level of a student athlete. And so sometimes that doesn't happen, and they're going to make mistakes on a recruit here and there or whatever, but if the more money they have, obviously the more it helps.
BSC turning into a four-year school would help the athletic department greatly.
I think it would help a lot, especially if you had the sport of football. That would help a lot as being a four-year. I coached here for 17 years, and so I've seen that other side of it, that you just get a student athlete or a team prepared, and all of a sudden they're gone, and you'd like to have some of those guys back for 2 more years. But then there's a lot of them too that you just say, oh, I'm glad it's a 2-year school, they're gone. So, but anyway, all in all, I think we're unique, but I also think that a 4-year school, a lot of tradition carries over, and it would help like in a booster club situation. It's hard to have a booster club at a 2-year school, and most people that graduate will give money as an alumnus or alumni person down the road. They usually give it to their 4-year school they graduated from, so that's a little bit of a drawback too.
Even though there have been coaching changes and injuries for BSC basketball, Buster still approves of the teams.
Well, I think there's one thing that, as far as the men's basketball team, when Joe Mueller took over, there wasn't a lot of the recruiting done, and so he had to dive in there and try to get some pieces of the puzzle to try to make it work for this year. And Joe didn't really get where he wanted to be probably with it, and so he's working on it right now. He's been out recruiting a couple places regionally and a lot of games locally, trying to find student athletes for next year. And I think that there'll be much improved next year. But I think that this year they're competitive. They've won some home games here against Lake Region and Wahpeton and Dawson just recently, and those are all Division I teams, junior college that we've beaten. So we feel pretty good about that. The women, on the other hand, they're doing well, but they're in a situation where they've had some injuries that have probably played an important part in where they're at right now, and they're competitive. And so we'll see what happens here too in the postseason. Any team can get hot in the postseason, and hopefully both those teams will do that.
Jared Schumacher, Mystic Media.
Well, thanks for the tacos. It's about time.
Well, I owed you, and we were going to be anchoring together, and I hadn't eaten, so figured,
Well, I am
not?
thoroughly impressed.
You're welcome. That does it for this MystiCast. Be sure to check out bscmysticmedia.com for everything Mystic, including BSC's official radio station, The Mix.
See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.